want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says, squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you're going between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and it is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, year of our Lord. You know, I just realized that it is my youngest brother's birthday. I just realized that. Let me give him a call, see if he's up. Before I get started with the show, gotta acknowledge my people.
What a pleasant surprise.
Happy birthday, my brother.
Wow, thank you.
I'm on a live stream, but, you know.
Oh, God.
No, I just wanted to call you before I got started with the show. I just started with the show, and I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you so much. This is a $5,000 call. You know how much this man charged for time?
What you got up for the day?
Working, getting some coins, and later on, I think I'm going to Top Golf.
Oh, that'd be dope.
But first, I gotta get that coin.
Yeah, got to get them bags. We don't sleep on no bags. All right. Well, I was just tapping in with you. I'll call you a little bit later after I get off the live show.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye. So happy birthday to my youngest brother. So let's see. He's 6 years younger than me. 42. So he's 36 years old. Wow. Shout out to Greg D. I love you, bro. I appreciate you. And you have been a very, very, very phenomenal young man. And you are better than me as a person and is more awesome than me in a lot of different ways. And I absolutely love you, but you're unique in your own way. And I just adore you. So shout out to my brother. Shout out to all of my people. And shout out to all of the chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also on top of that, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Tiege Hanley is a phenomenal product. I will never tell you about a product that I did not use myself. Make sure you get your Tiege pack. I want to encourage you guys to do so. Do not wait for the ladies to get it for you fellas. And ladies, go ahead and get it for the fellas if they're waiting for you to get it for them. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. Again, shout out to the Patreon members and the Bag Chasers. I also want to give an early acknowledgement to my guy, Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude on Cash App. I appreciate you, my friend. And also my dog, ESDC, Easy Money. Shout out to you. Shout out to ESDC. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Thank you, my friend. Also want to acknowledge a few other people on Cash App also. I want to acknowledge Rashad Maybell. Shout out to Rashad, said thank you for the content. I appreciate you, Rashad. Brian Hunter said Project 2025, Trump wins. I don't know about that, not the Trump Project 2025 part. And Mr. DJ said, you a menace out here in these streets. Thank you, Mr. DJ. Thank you to everybody that support the platform. I see y'all in the chat. Tech Coach Ralph, Kate Cooper, Jeremy, Mr. Lott, Zeno, Iceberg Slim. Who else we got in here? Kiro, Carla, Lawrence, Destiny, Witherspoon, Jesse, K. Cooper, Dion, Sardines, Yannick, Big Suggs. Too damn much says, what up, though? Oh, your birthday tomorrow? Happy birthday. Happy early birthday, big dog. Yakar, Kojak, all of my friends and family, Mr. Lott. I see y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. Y'all ready to get into the show? Because we got a full show today. We got a loaded show today. There was so much content that I had to go over, but that I couldn't even use it all. So I had to forego some of the content. Some of the stuff that we want to talk about tomorrow is Memphis. I want to get into Memphis. I haven't really talked about Memphis and deep dove into Memphis. I even want to visit Memphis. Maybe I'll visit Memphis. I don't know. Patreon meetup in Nashville or Memphis? Might be a thing. Might be a thing. What up, Leslie? What up, Latrell? What up, everybody that's in the chat? Purple Haze, Outlaw Nation, Bobby Sherry. And shout out to all of my ops. Now I'm starting to get a view of some of the people that watch this show and where I be getting the dislikes from. How I get a dislike early in the show, because they never miss a show. They know all of my talking points. They rock out and see what I do, but then they say that they're an op. But then they leverage in the information and they entertain. So they don't miss a show, but they don't like me. And some of them are some people that I made. You know, do you know that I've created a whole ecosystem out here on YouTube? And hold on, let me say something. Shout out to Tia Marie. Tia Marie hold me down. And I know it's a lot of y'all other people out here that hold me down. But let me just say something. When people send me stuff, I'll be in the clouds and I'll be working and I'll be taking care of business because I'm not going to miss out on no bags and I'll be paying attention. But shout out to Tia Marie. Tia Marie, you a real one. I love you. I adore you. Thank you for calling it what it is. I got a lot of people that be watching and they be tuned in. They be hanging on to every word. I got a whole ecosystem out here. I got a lot of sons. And it's some of them that's a little bit disrespectful. They the prodigal son. Except for I'm not letting them back into my bosom. Yeah, it's a whole conglomerate of people that you would never even know them. You wouldn't even know certain networks. You wouldn't know certain people. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I've never talking disrespectful on people that has helped me and added value into my life. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, neither here nor there. Shout out to Von Eastmay. I heard that you was sassy. I heard that you was giving it up in Houston. Von Eastmay, before we get started with the show, let me just say this. I heard that you were sassy and that you was at Mocha Fest and you was taking it from the back. Never mind me. Anyways, neither here nor there. Y'all ready to get it popping with the show? We got a full show lined up for y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get to it, y'all. What y'all say? We get into quick hits? Let's get into quick hits, y'all. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate entire segments to. But I'm definitely going to keep y'all informed on what's happening out in these streets. We got a lot to cover. Buckle up for the next 2 hours because I'm going to get y'all day started off right. All right, first things first on Quick Hits, a United 757 plane loses its landing gear. Check it out.
We turn now to the harrowing moments for passengers on board a United flight leaving Los Angeles, the Boeing 757 losing one of its main landing gear tires. In fact, passengers were told to brace. Here's Mola Lengi.
On the heels of a record-setting weekend for air travel, tonight the FAA and United Airlines are launching an investigation after one of its passenger planes lost a tire during takeoff.
United 10-01, just to give you a heads up, the tower call, they think that you lost a tire on the takeoff.
They believe it was the left side aft inner main landing gear tire that fell off.
The incident occurring this morning while the Denver-bound Boeing 757, packed with 181 passengers and crew, was leaving Los Angeles. Video from inside the cabin showing the harrowing moments, the plane successfully landing hours later. You can hear the crew telling passengers to brace. Back in March, a rear tire of another United flight falling off moments after takeoff.
It literally just happened.
The wheel landing in a parking lot, slamming into several cars and damaging a fence.
Well, David, United has been under extensive supervision by the FAA after a series of maintenance issues throughout this year. Meanwhile, tonight, that 29-year-old plane involved in this latest incident, that remains grounded, David.
At some point also, because I know that Boeing is the easy out in this. It's easy to hold Boeing accountable for the 757 and the landing gear and all of this stuff, especially since, you know, we've seen the crisis and the safety issues as far as what was happening and them apologizing and all of that. But here's my question also. Is Boeing the easy target for a lack of safety checks or a lack of maintenance? Because, for example, I can go and purchase a car. And I'm not saying that it's not their fault, but I do want to just ask the question, right? I'm not saying that it's not their fault or it is their fault. But let's just say, for example, I go out and I buy a car. Let's say I buy, I don't know, a Toyota Camry. Oh, let's use a good one. A Nissan Altima, the baby mama special. Let's say that I buy the baby mama special, a Nissan Altima, right? And I don't change the oil, or I never get the tires, changed and rotated, and I'm riding on slicks. Now, anybody knows what slicks are. Slicks is a racing reference, but I'm riding on slicks. So I'm in the snow, and then I hit a turn, and then I start spinning out of control. Does it then become Nissan's fault, or is it my fault for not properly maintaining the vehicle that I purchased? Just asking a question, because again, it's easy to just spin this off on, and we always know that where there's smoke, there's fire. However, is there some culpability on the actual airlines to maintain their aircraft correctly, or is it 100% Boeing's fault, or is it a little bit of both? I don't know. You guys tell me. In addition to that, I want to spin over real quick. Be careful, ladies. Be very, very careful, because there are women that are getting found, stuffed, and taken out in sleeping bags. Check it out.
New tonight, the search for suspects after a woman's body was found inside a trash bag in Kips Bay.
Friends and family spoke to CBS 2's Alice Gaynor, remembering her life taken too soon.
Oh, my beautiful baby, my angel.
Family and friends gathered at a memorial on 27th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues, where the body of 31-year-old Yasmin Williams was found. Police say this past Friday, just before 5 p.m., they responded to a call of a suspicious package on the curb. Police sources say inside.
That looked crazy. Let me just say that right now. That looked insane. We as humans have always been savages. Like, this is nothing new. We as humans have always, and when I say always, I mean always been savages. Since the beginning of time, we do some of the worst things to each other, to our family, to our children, to ourselves. We have always been savages. But I will never, ever, ever get used to witnessing and seeing and observing some of the stuff that I see on the news, and I'm just not going to be desensitized to it. That's insane for somebody to be rolled up inside of a bag like that.
Inside the trash bag was a woman's body wrapped in a sleeping bag. The medical examiner's office ruled it a homicide. She had been shot in the head.
No one would have a reason to hurt her like that. Everyone she knew, she meant something to them.
Police sources say a man was seen on video pulling the bag on a motorized wheelchair. Several say Williams was friends with a man who uses a wheelchair in the neighborhood. She grew up here and lived nearby. Williams' mother says days before she was killed, her daughter, known as Yazzie, had just started a new job.
She was looking so forward to living her life. Because she got her degree in criminal justice. She went to Buffalo State University, and she wanted to go back to be a lawyer.
You could always catch her on a city bike. She had a beautiful voice. She just really loved life.
Williams had a twin brother and a little sister.
She used to always take good care of me, and she used to always be proud of me. She was the best sister I could ever have. And I love her so much. I just wish she could have stayed a little longer, because I just wanted to grow up with her.
So far, no arrests, no motive, and police sources say right now it's unclear where the murder took place.
The longer it stays unaddressed or unsolved, the longer people are gonna, it adds to people's anxieties.
She was a beautiful, black, educated, strong woman, and she will never be forgotten.
Yo, listen. Family members, when y'all are grieving and y'all going through something, don't jump on the news. Don't jump on the news. Don't put your kids on the news. I used to watch the first 48, and I thought that it was an incredibly entertaining show. I will stay up to date on this to keep you guys informed on whether or not they catch the person that shot her in the head and wrapped her up inside of a sleeping bag and then dumped her on the side of the road. Thank you, Organized Truth. Definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. And then last but not least, over in Seattle, yeah, the culture is over in Seattle too. You're never going to catch a shortage of women with tickets on their cars, wearing booty shorts, probably coming from brunch, getting mad at somebody that cut them off in traffic, and dragging people out into the street and mollywopping them. I believe that women are more vicious than men. Check it out. See for yourself.
Both girls dragged me out of my truck and started beating me.
They were just punching on her and holding her down on the asphalt.
A broad daylight.
Do y'all not realize that people are now carrying guns almost everywhere now? Like, it's very hard to get into it with somebody and not to assume that they strapped. That's what I think. A lot of people be like, oh man, if somebody will get into it with like me, I knuckle up. If you ever go to a gun class and you actually did the class and you get your CPL, your concealed pistols license, or, the concealed carry or whatever like that, they will tell you that because you are now armed to defend yourself, if something was to ever pop off, that is the last resort. As a matter of fact, they're so adamant about it, they say that if anything was to happen, you need to run. And you're not running because you're scared of what could happen to you, you're running because the last line of defense is for me to have to pull it out, because if I pull it out, then I got to take your life. You can't pull out, that sounds crazy. You can't pull out and then hesitate to use. You have to be 1,000% sure and really focus when you get into a situation. So if I walk away, or if somebody is walking away, it's only for one or two reasons. A, either I'm protecting you from yourself, or B, I also don't want the possibility of if you have something and then we get into a knuckle up because I can't control how you feel or whether or not you feel threatened, and then it could be a form of self-defense. If you start losing or if I start losing, it just becomes a bad situation. When everybody can go home and when people keep their hands to themselves, we don't have these type of problems inside of society, but it only takes one person to go off the hinges, and next thing you know, somebody getting dragged outside of their car.
Speeding for a pointless reason. It happened Saturday afternoon in West Seattle. I spoke to the victim over the phone. She doesn't want to use her name because she's terrified. She was in town from Yakima to visit her father.
Look at the culprits. Look at the culprits. You see them? They have no problem. Women are literally like little monsters, or in this case, big monsters. They have no problem having their booty shorts out, dragging you out the car, and then they're going to go and make a TikTok and say how men are now not masculine enough and they not going on no coffee dates. After they get done dragging you out your car, they're going to go on TikTok and make a video and say, I ain't never going on no coffee dates. I don't know what kind of men these are. Well, you used to dragging dudes outside of their car and beating them up in the middle of traffic in Seattle.
Who's dealing with a brain injury after having 3 tumors removed. The victim tells me this was all because she accidentally cut off the suspects at the intersection.
The thing about white people is they always gonna get your license plate number. That's for, they could get done just getting their butts kicked, but they gonna definitely get the evidence because they're gonna get you back later.
Right on top of me, and I was really scared I was gonna get run over by my own vehicle.
The video shows the victim's car roll down the street where it crashed into another car. Then the suspects speed off. But witnesses say they did not go far. Someone on scene sent me this video of the Range Rover parked by Alki. You can see it is missing the front license plate and still has a piece of paper in the windshield, like the car in the assault video.
It's disheartening that Seattle police didn't show up in a timely manner. We could have.
Well, no, they're not going to show up. It's designed over in Seattle for the criminals to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it.
Got those girls. They were a mile away on the beach partying.
You responded faster than.
Wait a minute. So the girls dragged you out of your car, assaulted you, basically caught a felony, and then left the ticket, went and parked on the beach, and then these chicks went and had a good time, and they went to brunch afterwards. So let me get a round of applause for the queens, for the thug queens that's out here in these streets. They beat you up, and then they went to the beach, and then they went and started partying. Wow.
And they did, and that was on Saturday. It's now Monday. I'm shocked.
Wendy Carrington is one of the Good Samaritans who tried to stop the assault.
These look like the folks?
Oh yeah, they had the parking ticket on the front of their Land Rover.
I have pictures of both suspects. That Carrington confirmed. Pictures that the 22-year-old victim herself took after the assault. But Seattle police will not say if these are the suspects or not. They tell me they're still investigating, so we can't show them. The victim tells me Seattle police's response is making the entire incident that much more difficult to deal with.
Nobody's contacting me. Nobody's reaching out. Nobody is wanting to find these girls except for me.
And it's sad that this is the state of our city.
This is what y'all voted for. This is what you voted for. Y'all wanted for this to be how you wanted it. You wanted to defund the police. You wanted to allow for people to be able to do stuff to you, and that you have your own social workers to come out and show up to the location where you just got mollywopped. Y'all wanted this. You wanted light laws on criminals. You wanted them to be able to beat you up. You wanted them to be able to go into stores and steal anything under $950. Even if they did get caught, they're not going to be able to get prosecuted anyway because they're just going to get a plea deal and get good behavior. And if you stay out of trouble for the next 6 months, then we'll drop everything and you won't even have anything on your record whatsoever. We'll expunge everything. I believe that every person that is in these cities need to stay where they are and deal with the consequences and either change the laws and keep on telling me on these panels that y'all don't need to vote, but don't move to the places that they already solving for a lot of these issues inside of their communities. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let me go ahead and read some of these super chats. we gonna get it popping today. Organized Truth says, morning, Mr. Daniels. I just want to say thank you. It's refreshing to hear men stand on business and tell the truth. Again, thank you for all that you do. No, thank you for supporting the platform. Thank you for being here. And thank you for always observing the Millionaire Morning Show. I appreciate you, Organized Truth. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Lot, my guy. From Molly Wop and the Mimosas. And then they went to the beach and they had a good time. They ain't tripping off y'all. They ain't tripping even a little bit. And they said, don't show their face. My name Joe says deranged brunch bandits. When I see certain women, I avoid them at all costs. I do not engage. If you see a wild animal out there mauling and gnawing against people and cars, walk away, call the police, know that they're not going to show up, and then deal with it in your own neighborhood, all right? Let's go ahead and get to the core and the thick of the show because we got a lot of stuff to cover. First and foremost, I told you guys yesterday, definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly, J-Dubs, thank you. I told you guys yesterday that I was going to be on top of and staying concerned about what was going on over in Chicago because once you eclipse the triple digits when it comes to people losing their lives over a weekend, a holiday weekend, where people are supposed to be barbecuing, having a good time, going to see family, you got some extra days off, the weather is good. There's no reason why we should be in the triple digits over a weekend, which the 4th of July was during the week, right? The 4th of July was on a Thursday, I believe. But during the weekend, we now have a bunch of people that decide that they want to wreak havoc all across the cities across the United States of America. But nowhere is that more pronounced than right here in good old top of the Midwest, Chicago, where, in my opinion, leadership is failing, budgets are frailing, migrants are taking over, and we have a shortage of police officers to the tune of over 2,000. What I didn't know was that Chicago also had NASCAR in the city. And so what I realized once I started doing some deep diving and research was that not only does Chicago have a shortage of police officers, but also on top of that, the majority of the police officers are so focused on making sure that they can maintain NASCAR that it then leaves a shortage of responders and police officers across the city in order to prevent crime in the first place. So the criminals know that all of the visitors and all of the police people are going to be downtown, which in my opinion is a preview of what's to come when it comes to the Democratic National Convention that is going to be coming up shortly. I should be breaking this down in the Anton Daniels show, but I'm definitely going to address it separately. But before I do, I just want to make sure that I bring this up to the front of the congregation because we got to keep this at the forefront. And for all of the people in the culture that's so mad at the fact that I'm covering it, instead of being mad at the people that's continuing to create these criminals, the people that vote a certain way, the people that's in your leadership, instead of you going to them and holding them accountable, because I don't see none of y'all calling the mayor's office, but y'all will definitely leave a comment on this video. Let's bring this up because Mayor Johnson, while he was out of town during what has now become the bloodiest weekend of Chicago in 2024, and we just now found that out, is calling for justice inside of his city. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to Jamal Fowler. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly.
Mayor Johnson facing questions over his response to the deadly holiday weekend that left 19 people dead and 109 others shot.
WGN political reporter Tamon Bradley takes a closer look at the mayor's response.
Good evening. Last Friday, Mayor Johnson landed back in Chicago after a trip to New Orleans. From the airport, he traveled straight to Greater Grand Crossing, the scene of a mass shooting.
Wait. The only thing that I can think of that was happening in New Orleans, unless he was headed down there on a personal trip, I can only think of two things that was happening down in New Orleans over this past weekend. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but I stay connected with my ear in the street. So the only thing that I could be disillusioned about is the specific dates. The only thing that I can think of that was happening last week, long weekend, holiday weekend, traditionally, when it gets warm outside, especially during holiday weekends over in Chicago, there's always a bunch of violence, and that happens in multiple cities across the nation, but none more pronounced than in Chicago for whatever reason, okay? Only thing that I can think of that was happening in New Orleans at the time was the Cash Money millionaires that was having a party for Slim and Baby for 30 years in the game, and they had Essence Fest. It was Essence Fest. That's the only thing that I can think of that was happening in New Orleans over the weekend. Now, I could be wrong. I could be disillusioned. But I heard that Essence Fest, which was not popping because, first of all, nobody could afford to go. Secondly, I heard that it was raining and it was absolutely trash. And third, I'm so glad that Essence Fest failed because all it had become was a huge alphabet community celebration. And I don't even know why people still go to Essence Fest in the first place. However, that's the only thing I can think of that was happening down there in New Orleans. I wish some of these reporters was able to ask that question because they had their ear to the street. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Neighbors and the wider Chicago community demanded answers.
Today, I stand here today heartbroken.
More than any other official, the Chicago mayor must wear the stain of the city's staggering gun violence. Brandon Johnson, a West Side resident, insists he gets it, and he's up to the challenge.
There's no secret where I live, right? You know, that's why this is personal for me. I've shared this. We've had gunshots come through our home. I'm so sick and tired of losing black boys to violence in this city. It grieves me fiercely.
After 19 people were killed, dozens more wounded during the extended 4th of July weekend, Johnson and his long-term solutions approach face increasing scrutiny. During a morning press event at police headquarters, Johnson was grilled. The mayor was forced to explain why he was not in Chicago on the 4th.
Given the fact that 4th of July is known to be a very violent time in the city of Chicago, do you think that was a wise idea to be out of town?
Well, here's what I can say emphatically, that my work never ends. It doesn't. You know, I accept the responsibility of 24/7 on call every day of the week.
Last Friday.
What does that mean? Listen. Just because I would rather you use smaller words and be involved than use words that have 3 or more syllables and think that that's supposed to mean something to us. The dudes that's out here doing all of the killing, they can't even speak past 2-syllable words. What do you mean? Here's what I can say emphatically. My work never ends. And I call it the Archdiocese, and I'm always on call. I had my cell phone on while I was in New Orleans at the Essence Festival, and you can check my records. What is this supposed to mean? What does this mean? We know what's going to happen over these weekends. So you telling me you had the Grand Prix happening downtown, not NASCAR. Telling me you had the Grand Prix happening downtown, 4th of July weekend, and y'all was out here getting it popping?
Day the 5th, Johnson met people impacted by the violence, including a family that lost 3 loved ones, including an 8-year-old boy. Critics want more. Johnson foe Alderman Raymond Lopez took to X to highlight ShotSpotter alerts across the city. This is what the criminal enablers don't want you to see. Over a 3-day period, nearly 500 shooting incidents across the districts with gunshot detection technology, he wrote. Despite the mayor's decision to cancel the city's agreement with the company behind the tech, a group of city leaders wants to reverse Johnson. Once again today, the mayor said he's not changing his mind. Instead, he'll keep pushing his comprehensive approach to public safety.
What is his comprehensive approach to public safety? So the only preventative measure that they have in Chicago in order to identify what is happening, who's doing it, where the potential shots can go off at, so that the police can have some sort of a preventative measure to get there or to help them in the system, especially considering that they are down over 2,000 police officers, is the one thing that he's pushing out. He don't want to invest in that. We invest in hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars in Illinois and Chicago alone. This is where I hold leadership accountable, because the only comprehensive problem that we look at in order to really identify what's happening over in Chicago is, number one, the parents and the people of the community. Because if y'all not holding each other accountable and you're not telling on the people that you already know is doing the violence, then you are the first ones that should be held accountable is yourselves. But then when we talk about leadership and keeping other people in the community safe that have nothing to do with the ones that's breeding all of the monsters, and you're not doing the thing that's in the best interest of the people, and they put up these statistics and show you that, hey man, this is where all of the gunshots is going off. We got cameras, we can see what's happening. Shot Spotter also helps us to identify exactly where the shots went off and all of this stuff. But we're gonna push a comprehensive plan to make sure that long-term, the communities are safe. Now, short-term, people are dying every day. And most of the people that are dying every day inside of Chicago are not even the ones that's committing the crimes.
Mind. Instead, he'll keep pushing his comprehensive approach to public safety.
My ultimate goal is to transform this city so we cut off the pipeline of boys between the ages of 10 and 19 being either victims or the perpetrators.
The mayor also stressed that everyone must take responsibility for helping end violence. And tomorrow, along with city health leaders, the Johnson administration will explain how residents can do just that.
Let's pivot. Let's look at it from another angle. They had a whole press conference. And he did the same thing that the black church do. We did a preach-a-mony.
Today, I stand here today heartbroken. Over 100 people have been shot in this city. 19 people have been killed this holiday weekend. But these are not just numbers on pages. These are not just headlines in the news.
It's so hard for me to take a dude wearing a mohawk in a leadership position seriously.
No. These are our fellow Chicagoans. They're our neighbors, family members who've lost their lives. These are 19 families whose lives are forever altered. And 19 families who woke up this morning without a son, without a daughter, without a mother, without a father, without an aunt, without an uncle. Over 100 people whose lives will never be the same. Whose next chapter in life is recovery and healing from this violence. These 100 people are members of families and communities, numbering in the thousands, who are also feeling the devastation and the impact of the incessant violence in the city of Chicago.
Incessant. We're going to go ahead and earmark that. We're going to look that up later because we're going to add that to our vocabulary. You know, we just see students over here.
I know all too well how this shows up, as I've often encountered the trauma in my classroom with my former students after a violent and horrific weekend. As a father raising a family on the west side of Chicago, this violence we are seeing, it's very close to home. This violence plaguing our community, it is deeply personal. This is not about just simply tallying our pain. This violence that happened this weekend did not happen in a vacuum, however. No, it didn't. We are standing here today talking about a violent weekend because of generations of disinvestment.
What next? Reparations is going to fix the problem?
And deep disenfranchisement in the exact communities where so much of the violence is taking place.
Come on, fam. The one thing that I know for sure, and this is the absolute honest to God truth. One thing that I know for sure is that when we grew up, we didn't have a whole lot. We did not have a whole lot, and we had a whole community of people to feed. It's probably where I get my inspiration from as far as always pouring into my people. But the one thing that I know for sure, and two things is for certain, is that being poor or not having resources or trying to pull yourself out the mud does not constitute having a violent background. It does not constitute killing people. It does not constitute taking lives. It don't. One thing I know for sure, and two things is for certain, is that just because you don't have a whole lot don't mean that you're going to take somebody else's life. Please miss me with that. As a person that grew up in the inner city of Detroit, there is never a reason or an excuse that you can use to justify taking somebody else's life. There are communities all over this country, strong communities. They hold each other accountable. I know poor white communities that you may find a meth head or two, but if you park on their lawn, boy, they're going to bring them sticks out. Here, he over there, here on my lawn. I know black communities, strong black communities. We've had them. We have them. They were dedicated. Neighborhood watch. Man, listen, when we didn't have nothing, but we stayed within community and we dedicated ourselves to adding value in each other's lives, and we held each other accountable, and we didn't have children out of wedlock, and we held these same principles, and we prayed together, we stayed together, we focused on each other, we had a community mindset, and if you got out of line or if you did something in school, then the teacher was an extension of me and they had permission to even kick your ass. We were different. We had a different mind. Don't tell me that money don't make you a better person. It makes you more of what you already are. When I pray in the morning, I don't pray for more money. I don't pray for resources. I pray for greater character, because I know that character is the thing that's going to keep me regardless of whether or not I have money or I don't have money. But one thing is for sure and two things is for certain. I'm never going to change the character of who I am regardless of whether or not I got it or I get it. I call somebody, and I call people regularly. I run into people regularly all the time, and they say, Anton, you've been the same way since you was in high school. With money, not having money, no matter what happened, the ebbs and the flows, because life is an ebb and a flow. You're not going to always have. You're not always going to get it. You're going to have some, you're going to lose some, you're going to go up, you're going to go down. But nobody can sit there and tell me that that is a reason or an excuse for you to go and take somebody else's life. 100 people getting shot, 100 people getting shot in a weekend is insane. I don't care where you from, what city you reside in, what part of America you in. If you're in a third world country, it's insane. Can't stand politicians sometimes, man. It's all posturing.
But we are here to say emphatically that this is enough. It's enough. When this reckless violence ravages across our city at this magnitude, we are losing a piece of the soul of Chicago.
Not saying nothing. Ain't a solution.
And it deeply pains me to admit that. But it is true.
Solution in this speech.
But I will not stand idly by. We will not be passive in this moment. We need to ensure that we are holding every single individual accountable for the pain and trauma and the torment that they have caused in this city. And there will be consequences.
For who?
There will be
You talking about the Safety Act? They'll be out tomorrow, no bond.
Consequences
if you even catch them, because there's too many unsolved murders. The only murders that get solved in Chicago is the ones against police officers.
Violence. We will not let criminal activity ruin and harm our city.
And just because you talk like this with your teeth, that don't mean nothing. Anyways, they did grill him and they did ask him a question about what was going on and why he was out of town during the bloodiest weekend in July.
Sarah Schulte, ABC 7. I understand both of you guys were in the Grand Crossing neighborhood on Friday night, I believe. I have a question for the mayor.
Hey, he couldn't wait to step out of the way. Police chief can't wait to step out of the way. Hey, this for you, Mayor.
Quite a few hours after the initial event. Were you out of town on Thursday?
I was out of town earlier this week.
We're on Thursday, on 4th of July.
Yeah. Don't gaslight me. Don't say earlier this week. They asked you Thursday specifically, sir.
We're out of town.
Yes.
Given the fact that 4th of July is known to be a very violent time in the city of Chicago, do you think that was a wise idea to be out of town?
Well, here's what I can say emphatically, that my work never ends. It doesn't. You know, I accept the responsibility of 24/7 on call every day of the week. It's very seldom do I get a chance to celebrate, you know, on a personal level. But, you know.
Translations, Essence Fest, y'all. Very rarely do I get a chance. You don't get weekends off when you're the leader of a city. That's just the way that the job. I'm sorry. There is no weekend of the bloodiest weekend off. You just don't get that. If you didn't like the terms, then you shouldn't have ran for mayor.
You know, the communications between my office, Chicago Police Department, OEMC, our state and federal partners, none of that stuff stops because I'm out of town. Of course, once I was arrived for the entire weekend, as what has been indicated, we had an early morning call on Friday with our summer operations.
He said I'm working remote. Hey, Brandon Johnson said, listen, fam, I was working remote from the Essence Fest over in New Orleans.
Police Department, Chicago Fire Department, OEMC. Of course, I was there for Operation Wake Up and throughout the entire weekend.
Last two questions. I have a quick question for either one of you on the crisis centers. We've had those before. We've covered them before, and nobody shows up. So I understand you're trying to help victims, but if no one shows up, is that the best use of city resources?
Well, there's other ways in which our partners connect with victims of violence.
So they put money into something that's not working in the community. Got it.
Our Deputy Mayor of Community Safety, as well as Glenn Brooks, they work very hard to make sure that these services and resources are available to folks. So any and everything that we do is for the benefit of people.
Listen, man, y'all can be gaslit if y'all want to, but I know what ineffective leadership looks like. I know what ineffective leadership looks like. It looks just like a mohawk. It looks just like a mohawk. Ineffective leadership looked like this. Real talk. And I used to know this guy. I ran into him a couple times. I called him the other guy, right? Real true story. I called him other guy. He used to be on a panel with me, and we used to call him, what was his name? Chicago Rilla, right? Kind of gave you a Teletubby vibes. Very, very nice. Care Bear. I used to call him Care Bear, but they used to call him Rilla. I used to call him Care Bear, especially the purple bear. I used to love him, right? And if he was the mayor of Chicago, this is something similar that he would do. He would pander. He would go back and forth and continue to gaslight you. He would simp out to women. He would be focused on reparations. He would say a lot of dumb stuff, similar to how he used to say on the panel. And he just so happened to be from Chicago also. So now I'm starting to wonder if this is something that's in the water. Is this something that Chicago breeds? Do they only breed panderers and killers? Or is it some real ones over in Chicago that could really stand up and really hold it down? Or is everybody in the community moving the same way? Is everybody in the community moving the same way? Are they all panda bears? Huh? Do they all dress weird and got weird haircuts? You remember Toy? I remember him. A lot of pandering out here in these streets. Anyways, neither here nor there. That's just something that I observe. I told y'all that I was going to stay on top of this story. I'm definitely going to stay on top of the story. Shout out to everybody that understand what's happening over in these streets, man. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Y'all wanted me to be the villain? I'll be your villain. I'll be a Huckleberry. You wanted me to be the villain? Okay, listen. Sometimes I come down off the throne and I want to address people directly, and that's what we're going to do. J-Dub says a tire on a 757 is more of a maintenance issue with the airline. After any maintenance, you're required to do a quality check to ensure all bolts are secured So it's not necessarily Boeing's fault. It does go back to the airline itself, and we can't just blame everything on Boeing. Okay, thank you for the insight. Jamal Fowler says, thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate you. Look at Miss T. Jones. Miss T. Jones in the building. Thank you, Miss T. Jones, for showing love. I love you. I love you, and thank you for always holding me down. I love my Miss Crow T. Shetty, too. What up, Miss Crow T. Shetty? What up? You said I'm amazing with the super sticker. I think that you're more amazing, love. And then my dog, shout out to my dog. I know you ain't gonna let the media check you, huh? Disrespect you, huh? This your mohawk, huh? Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lotta. I appreciate you for holding me down. And thank you to everybody that support us over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. Let me also acknowledge a Cash App, too, because the people love Tying Dog out in these streets. Mike, that dude, says, Brandon took police days away when he took off. I agree. I agree with you, Mike, that dude. You are absolutely right. You are 100% right. All right, y'all ready to continue on with the show? We got a full show. Thank you to everybody that support the platform. I'm always going to be reading super chats and cash apps throughout the show. Also, I want y'all to understand that if y'all have not been told that you're loved, I am expressing it to you right now. Because I'm never, ever, ever going to take for granted the people that hold me down and show love. Never, ever going to take y'all for granted. Y'all show up every day. I try to make sure that I add value, entertain y'all, and then ultimately give you the game on how it is that you can level up. If you're not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We always doing great things inside of the Patreon, and I can't wait to meet y'all when I go down in Houston on the 27th, all right? Let's get to it. So, I know that y'all think that I forgot, but I didn't. I did not. Government Cheese says these female district attorneys are acting like the new mob. Interesting. You know who I ran into yesterday? Kim Worthy. For my people that's over here in Detroit and in Michigan, in the Metro Detroit area, I ran into Kim Worthy, right? And I just so happened to ran into her, and I'll tell you how I ran into her before we get into this new round of debit cards conversation. Rita was like, oh man, I'm about to go get breakfast here. As soon as you get off the Millionaire Morning Show, come and meet me here. I'm going to already order your food or whatever. And so we wound up going up to the Hudson Cafe on Woodward. So you know I'm always in the streets. I rode my bike, zoom, 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 up Woodward. And so, you know, I stopped at the ATM, went into the restaurant, went to go wash my hands, and I seen Kim Worthy. And Kim Worthy is, here, let me get her title right. Kim Worthy is the Wayne County prosecutor, and she's been the Wayne County prosecutor in Michigan, went to the University of Michigan, University of Notre Dame, and Notre Dame Law School, Wayne County prosecutor in Michigan since 2004. And so I walked up to her and I was having a conversation with her, and, you know, I interrupted what she was talking about with another police officer. And I said, man, yes, my bike does zoom, zoom. Quentin, don't you do it. Attorney Kim Worthy, that's correct. She's the Wayne County prosecutor. And I walked up to her and I said, Miss Worthy, how are you doing today? She said, oh, hey, how you doing? She said she recognized me from seeing my show and stuff like that. And so, I appreciate you. I said, would it be too much for me to ask of you in your office to get an hour or two of your time so that I can sit down and deep dive with you and ask you some questions, not just questions with regard to what you do for a living and what's happening in the prosecutor's office, but also I want to get your opinion on what's happening across the nation, including what's happening over in Georgia, Fulton County, and all of this stuff. And she said, Anton, I'd love to. So for you guys that are bag chasers, and I'm not sure if I'm going to release this publicly, maybe I'll just drop it on the Anton Daniels channel. For you guys, I plan on having some more in-depth conversations. I have a lot of people that I'm doing interviews with, that I'm deep diving with, and I'm going in a different direction in my platforms because I want to have deeper conversations, more in-depth conversations that hopefully add more value into our lives. I want to ask her about the migrant crisis. I want to ask her about the Safety Act. I want to ask her about a lot of things, and I don't always agree with Kim Worthy, but I'm not always trying to just interview people that I agree with. So when you see me transition and you see me continue to grow and not just do the same thing over and over and over again, but it was a time for that to happen. And then now I'm continuing to evolve to where the platform needs for us to have deeper conversations, not just the thing that's entertaining to us. That's what you can expect. It's so funny that you asked that question, but I definitely want to get more insight and information. And so I'm tapping all of my resources. And when I run into these people, I'm setting up things that ultimately, hopefully, add value into your lives, and that provides more insight. So as we talk about the migrant crisis, apparently there's a new round of debit cards that's being issued for migrants over in New York. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's check it out.
Here's something we followed a lot. Cash grab for migrants. New York City officials dramatically expanding a controversial program which would give another round of prepaid debit cards to 7,300 migrants over the next 6 months, costing the city upwards of $2.6 million. Now, the program previously gave these cards to 3,000 migrants. Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Ann Williams-Issam says the program allows newly arriving families the ability to, quote, buy from local shops, support small businesses, and manage their own resources.
Thank you, Ash.
When we empower people, we help them achieve self-sufficiency and access the American dream. Mayor Adams defending the program, claiming it's, quote, cost savings measure that temporarily replaces the Big Apple's existing system of providing non-perishable food boxes to migrant families staying in hotels and other city-funded shelters. The spending just goes on. And Cheryl, I got to tell you, I think it's interesting they're posting this as, an answer the migrant crisis, yes, but a solution for small business. And just one note on the spending, $4.7 billion of migrant spending equals, which is what they're doing, 14% of salaries and wages for all city employees. So it's grown and grown and grown.
Right. So, Joe, you say that this is fundamentally unfair to the city's working poor who don't receive similar benefits from the city.
Yeah, I mean, no one else in the city who happens to be poor, whether you're born in a foreign country, whether you immigrated legally here, is getting this type of focus and service. I mean, it is hard for someone to get enrolled in Medicare, in welfare programs, food stamps, and things like that. It's not simple to do. And yet this population, 2 years ago, we decided to open the doors. And by the way, it is cost saving to give these people these cards now. That's not a falsehood. We just spent so many millions and billions, really, dollars in wasteful no-bid contracts where we just had these contracting companies open up hotels, provide them with every meal, every resources. This is how the cost went exponentially higher than anything we've ever seen before. You said $4.7 billion. That's more money spent on the migrant crisis next year than all of the fire trucks, all of the garbage trucks, all of the firefighters, the sanitation workers, the EMTs, all the people that make our city work. It costs less to run that than it does solve, quote unquote, solve this problem.
John.
So let me tell you how they pitch you, and let me break it down from a C student's perspective. Let me tell you how they pitch you and how to break it down from a C student's perspective, all right? They're pitching this two ways in order to be able to sell it to the voters. They're going to say, wait a minute, this is a cost savings. This actually helps the taxpayers, because it's costing us less to actually staff and feed, in addition to all of the money that we already spending on Medicare, sending them to our schools, housing. It saves us money, especially when it comes to the cost of food and all of this stuff and staffing and everything, by us just giving them debit cards. We're actually doing a better service to the citizens and the taxpayers of New York City by just giving them debit cards. Sounds good, right? We saving the city money. But in comparison to the year before and the year before that the costs were spiraling so out of control and so egregious because we had been spending an enormous amount of money to the tune of billions of dollars that we don't even know who these vendors are that got all of this money, to the tune of billions of dollars. So when they say that they're saving you money, is because it was so grossly overstated as far as the budget that they allocated to be able to just feed these migrants in the first place, that they're now saying, well, listen, we saving money as a result of what it is that we're cutting back from the previous year. But they're still spending more money than they're supposed to by opening up the borders, and then allowing for these people to come into these places as sanctuary cities in the first place. So when they tell you this, it's not a lie, it's a white lie. That means that there's some truth in it so that they can justify the pitch to the voters and the taxpayers and justify them continuing, hopefully, to get reelected. But it's not the truth. They're not saving money in comparison to where they're supposed to be 4, 5, 6 years ago. They're saving money in relation to the amount of money that they were spending on a migrant crisis in the first place, labeling themselves as a sanctuary city. And so it's a white lie. That's what we call a white lie in the industry. It means I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of truth, but I'm going to omit the full truth so that you can get the full context and make a comparison as to whether or not we are doing what we're supposed to do as legislators and as people that are managing the government. And sanctuary cities and all of these liberal cities are still on fire. Still 100% on fire. But that's the way they're going to sell you. And then you're going to take the talking point and say, actually, you're going to go on another panel. You're going to go in somebody else's chat. Instead of getting the context and doing the research for yourself, you're going to go on and you're going to say, actually, they're saving money by giving out debit cards to all of these migrants. So you don't know what you're talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about. I know the full context of why they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to remove responsibility of them not being in here in the first place. But instead, they're going to say that they're saving money because that's always the pitch. We saving money. We saving money. In comparison to what? You know, I know people that have for a lifetime basically been on social services and getting some form of food stamps. Back in the day, they was getting the actual physical food stamp money that, you know, looked like real money. And you would tear it out of the little booklet and then go to the store. And then now they use the actual cards, the little EBT cards. And they doing the same thing that they've been doing back in the day. You know what they've been doing? Selling it at a discount to ultimately get the cash and then be able to go out and do whatever it is that they want to do when they wanted to do it. They're not actually using it for the purpose of why they were supposed to be using it. They're leveraging it in order to continue to get the money, and they selling it at a discount. They created their whole economy behind it. I know business owners, literally people that came over here and then declared themselves citizens of the United States of America in one way, shape, or form or another, had children over here, right? And then ultimately they started their business. They would go on government assistance because you couldn't verify or document their income because they never worked for anybody. Technically, they worked for themselves. They would take their debit cards or take their EBT cards and they would get a whole lot of money because they would have a whole lot of children. Even if they had the children outside of the United States of America, they could say, hey, this is the amount of people that I got in my household. They would get allocated social services and monies, aka taxpayer monies. They will open up their business, go over to Sam's Club, go over to Costco, go over to all of these suppliers, and then they would purchase the food that they ultimately sold inside of the restaurant to you. But they would get it at a discount, which means that they was able to compete much more effectively against other restaurants because they was able to cut the cost. They didn't have the same cost when it came to employees because they didn't have to pay anybody because they would work the jobs themselves. So they would give themselves a leg up by leveraging the federal government and your tax dollars against you and create businesses that ultimately was able to take you out because you couldn't compete when it comes to actually being a fair marketplace. And so when you see a lot of these people, you see these government bodies ultimately try to sell you on a narrative, I'm telling you that ultimately you are going to lose. Their job as legislators is supposed to be to give you the opportunity. That is what America is built on. Or at least that's what America is supposed to be today. It's built on slave labor, but that's what it's supposed to be built on today. Is the opportunity for you to be able to succeed according to your own efforts in a fair marketplace. Doesn't mean that you were supposed to be all born with the same cards. You got a different set of cards than somebody else, but you're supposed to be able to leverage the marketplace. The marketplace is where everything is supposed to be fair game. It's like the internet. The internet made it available for us to be able to compete against these news stations. The internet made it available for us to be able to reach other customers without having to go through traditional entities that then tax us to death in order for us to be able to reach our target audience. It's supposed to be the great equalizer. No matter who you are, where you from, what color you at, you're supposed to have the opportunity, not get a leg up on somebody, but have the opportunity to be able to compete against other people that are in the same marketplace as you. But that's not what happens when you start to give handouts because somebody else is going to be foregone, or somebody else is going to be at a disadvantage. White, black, Asian, whatever you are, somebody else is going to be at a disadvantage because they're able to leverage the system against you in a way that they're selling to the voters because the legislators sold you out. They didn't sell you in. They didn't bring you in. And so when I see this happening, I see the same thing happening. What happens to social services, what happened to Section 8, what happened to all of these. It's not a leg for you to be able to stand on in order to be able to get yourself together. It's a handout. That's it. It's just a handout.
I have something to add. You know, there are a number of op-ed pieces. There's some academics, some former Democratic Party officials that claim the reason why we have stronger than expected economic growth.
Somebody said Anton is saying the system is rigged. Nope, I'm not saying that the system is rigged. Because you cannot have a job. You can go over there and create your own business. You can start your own restaurant. You can have a whole bunch of kids. And then you can also, on top of that, go and get social services and go and get some EBT cards. And then you can illegally go and use those cards to buy food that ultimately you can supply in your restaurant so you can sell them to the general public too. You can do the same thing. I'm advising you not to do it. See, listen, it's not the system itself that's the problem. It's the legislators that don't enforce the laws. They're doing something illegal. They're doing something illegal. But we're not closing off the gaps and cutting them off and addressing them and dealing with them accordingly. And so when you have people being able to break the law without any consequences, that's not the system. That's the people that you vote into office that's not prosecuting and not making sure that they press charges to the fullest extent of the law in order to prevent this from happening in the first place. It's not checks and balances. That's why you have layers of government. That's why you got a Congress, House of Representatives, a president. It's supposed to be layers for checks and balances in order to ensure that nobody steps out of bounds and that the laws are enforced.
Is because of illegal immigration. Well, they're right, but the reality is it's the government funding of the illegal immigration that's benefiting from the economy. That's the important point. It's not the migrants or whatever, it's government spending.
Well, there's a Wall Street Journal piece out that says blue states exodus continues, and it talks about New York behind California, that New York State has lost, lost income and lost funding and lost residents because of blue state policies.
And they're going to come to your city. They coming to Nashville. They coming to Texas. They coming to all of y'all cities because they're going to take whatever it is that they had and they're going to leverage and they're going to sell out and they're going to sell their home and they're going to take the money and they're going to gentrify your neighborhood. They're going to push you out and then it's going to be like Austin. Austin is just like baby California now. Anyways, neither here nor there. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to continue on with the show. All right. I know I'm giving y'all a little bit too much game, but, you know, that's what we do on the Millionaire Morning Show. Ash in the building. Shout out to my dog, Ash. Chicago is full of panda bears. Son, husband, simps, etc. And killers, pimps, players, games, dope dealers, and hustlers. There are some real dudes, but they are far and in between, and a lot have left the city. That's a fact. That's what I said. That's what I said, and I stand on that. Shout out to all of the Care Bears. Coco Princess, what's up, Coco? Says, I enjoy your show so much. I've been watching consistently and in the cut. You need to do a singles event. Y'all want me to? All right, so hold on. I would love to meet more like-minded men similar to you. Keep up the great work. All right, so listen. Coco threw it out there. Coco. Y'all want me to do it? I could throw a singles event. Listen, I could do a whole weekend where I mentor y'all and I have a conversation with y'all and I break it down. Listen, if y'all want a singles event, y'all let me know. If you want a singles event, like Coco said, y'all let me know. You know I can throw it and it's going to be phenomenal. That's going to have to be a Patreon exclusive though, Princess. Hey, Princess, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com so I don't forget, because I will forget. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com so I don't forget. Email this idea to me, Coco. Thank you, baby girl. I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody that continue to support the platform. Jay Hunter Lee in the building says they doing market manipulation. That's always what they've been doing. Yeah. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? All right, y'all. Let's continue on with the show. Shout out to Jay Hunter Lee. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to everybody that support the platform. We got a full show for y'all today, and we moving over to the next thing. So, Oakland. What up, Oakland? We're going to spend 10 minutes talking about Oakland real quick, all right? Because I'm not happy about what's happening in Oakland. Oakland is literally probably going to be the next major city that fails and files for bankruptcy. But that's not all. They also want to destroy the city on top of that. Check it out and take a look.
Oakland police staging around the 76 gas station on Hagenberger. This 3 days after the gas station was ransacked by a group of around 80 people following a sideshow in the area.
40 minutes, you could do a lot of damage in 40 minutes. That's how long they were in here.
Sam Mardai is the manager and co-owner of this gas station. He believes the vandals caused upwards of $100,000 in damage. That includes the $22,000 taken from their own ATM. He says the only employee working in the gas station's window at the time left for fear of their own safety and called police.
They said there was nothing we could do. You cannot just file a report online. That's how to respond.
Do y'all know that as we watch this monstrous show happen and take place, do you guys know that one of the things that they do in the city is they do it similar to how these carry out and fast food restaurants in certain parts of the city, they do it similar to how these fast food and carry out restaurants do as far as putting up the plexiglass, but it's inside of a gas station, right? So if you go to other cities like California and Oakland and stuff like that, not only do you have to be aware of the fact that you are in the wrong neighborhood, but if you go inside of the gas station, not only will your car possibly get stolen, but you can just go in willy-nilly inside of the gas station, a 7-Eleven or whatever, and go and shop like regular and all of that, right? But at certain gas stations inside of the city, inside of Detroit, after a certain time or in the daytime, depending on whether or not they feel comfortable or not, they'll lock the doors and you can only go to and pay for gas or ask them for stuff in order to buy, your little cigarettes or whatever like that. You can only do it from the outside at the window. So you can't even get in the inside at all. You can't even get in the inside at all. This is crazy. They was in there for 40 minutes in Oakland. 40 minutes destroying, ransacking, turning over the ATMs, taking everything. They absolutely, positively did an immense amount of damage. Inventory, ran the clerk up out of there. And this is what happens when you let a city go out of control. When you don't let or you don't empower the people, when you don't give power back to the police department, they're going to then start to use tactics like, okay, you wanted to defund the police. Now we can only respond to real emergencies, but for other things, contact your insurance company, contact the social worker, contact the people in your legislative branches in order to make sure that we can then do our jobs, because they can't prevent crime. They can't chase the people. I remember it was a law that came into place where you couldn't chase criminals. Now, criminals could run, but you couldn't chase criminals because either you'll get a lawsuit against you, or if it was an accident or something get towed up or somebody dies as a result of it, then it then falls back onto the police department, and then they was going to reward the criminals or reward the people or punish the police department from actually trying to keep you safe and protect you in your neighborhoods. So now they can go in there for 40 minutes to an hour, absolutely destroy the entire place, and then they gonna tell you, hey man, file a report online. Go online and fill out a report. Send that report over to your insurance company. See if they can do something for you. Ain't nothing that we can do. You let the crazy people out of the insane asylum, and now they running amok. You let the crazy people out of the insane asylum, and now they're running amok for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. They moving slow. They taking their time. They brought their tools. They went to Home Depot before they ransacked your place. Their parents ain't nowhere to be found. We don't know what's happening. Gang, 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 gang. They just came from a Kendrick Lamar video shoot.
Attacked by a group of around 80 people following a sideshow in the area.
right after they destroyed the streets and they've stolen cars.
You could do a lot of damage in 40 minutes. That's how long they were in here.
Sam Mardai is the manager and co-owner of this gas station. He believes the vandals caused upwards of $100,000 in damage. That includes the $22,000 taken from their own ATM. He says the only employee working in the gas station's window at the time left for fear of their own safety and called police.
They said there was nothing we could do. You cannot just file a report online. That's how I respond.
He says it wasn't until 9 hours after the incident when an officer was sent to the scene. Police said they weren't aware of the magnitude of the incident until seeing this video.
It was being it's lawless.
9 hours.
Ken Houston is director of Oakland's Beautification Council.
Look at the back of the beautification that they're working on. Look at the hood that in the background. Look at the beautification. Oh, I love it. I love these cities failing.
Lawless.
Ken Houston is director of Oakland's Beautification Council. He had a backpack with all of his devices stolen and later hacked while parked outside of his business on Hagenberger just 2 weeks ago.
This is a business that pays taxes to keep our city going. Would you want to stay there and continue your business? Or would you move like Denny's right down the street? Or would you move like In-N-Out?
Oakland City Council member Treva Reed represents this district. She went to the 76 gas station on Monday to meet with the owner.
It has really shaken us. In the midst of seeing a 70% plus reduction in crime, the money that these businesses have been working.
Now, we all know how to juke the numbers. We all know accounting practices. And we all know how to apply those same accounting practices to the numbers. You can reclassify it as far as a crime. You can then say, hey, violent crime versus street crime versus petty theft. And then they can say, well, it was a 70% reduction. And what? Hey, who in their right mind? Somebody in the chat right now, as long as we've been doing this show, as long as we've been running it up, somebody shout out to all of the new bag chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as to the top of the chat. Who in their right mind? Who in the world that is watching? It's over 1,700 people watching on YouTube alone. Who in their right minds believe that there's been a 70% decrease in crime? Oh, she tried to sell that. Yo. If you would have said it's only been a slight uptick in crime, we might have even went with that. You did not just tell us, ain't no way in the world, Jesus be offense. Lord, have mercy. Baby cherubims inside of the Garden of Eden preventing us from getting over there and eating from the tree of life. We only ate from the tree of knowledge. Cherubims protecting the Garden of Eden from the tree of life, lest they become gods like us. Cherubim, baby cherubims. Who over there is going to ever believe that there has been a 70% reduction in crime in Oakland, California? She really threw that out there. Y'all really threw that out. Hold on.
Like In-N-Out.
Oakland City Council member Treva Reed represents this district. She went to the 70.
Hey, somebody email me Treva Reed's a phone number. I'm going to try to get her on the Millionaire Morning Show. I would like to see exactly what these numbers are and how they've been able to reduce the crime. I would love to get her on the show to maybe substantiate that claim and that argument.
76 gas station on Monday to meet with the owner.
It has really shaken us. In the midst of seeing a 70% plus reduction in crime, the money that these businesses have been working to harden their stores and to protect their workers and to keep this regional gateway alive to hear and see what's happened. It's been devastating.
And she believes their work is far from over.
And it still shows us that there's a
Oakland still got the old school police cars. Hold on.
And she believes
Oakland, they don't even got the new what was it? The Ford Tauruses. They don't even got the new Tauruses. Oakland still got the old school Crown Victorias out here. Yo, Oakland ain't even got the new the latest Dodge Chargers. They ain't got the Ford Explorer police trucks. God, y'all need RoboCop. They got the old Crown Vics. The old school Crown Vics, man. Solid rear axle. Sturdy, like RoboCop. Don't even got the Ford Taurus police cars or the Dodge Chargers. Jesus. Don't you know them things get like 11 miles to the gallon when they first come out the factory? Somebody get police car 172 off the streets. Good God.
Their work is far from over.
And it still shows us that there's a lot more that we have to do to protect these businesses, our workers, and just this tourism corridor so that we can really, keep our businesses protected, our workers supported, and this corridor alive.
In the meantime, Mardai plans to have 2 employees at all times.
Oh, yeah, that'll really do it.
Is considering closing closer to sunset while asking for more police to keep watch.
Start doing their job, patrol this area more often. I can't say this area because right now it's getting where the whole city of Oakland is not safe.
I'll do you one better. I was going to skip this story because this came and landed on my radar right as y'all was sending me this video. Let me tell you what else is happening in Oakland.
Tonight, a mother in Oakland is grieving over the loss of a second child. Her stepdaughter was killed in a party bus shooting several years ago. Then just last week, she lost a son to gun violence. New at 6, our crime reporter Henry Lee live in Oakland after speaking with that mother. Henry.
Yeah, no words can express what this mother is going through. She tells me she's here one minute, not the next. She wants to yell, scream, jump, punch, do anything to remove the heartache she knows won't ever go away.
The pain I'm feeling right now is so unbearable. I would never want this on another mother.
Listen, baby, I get it. I get it. I understand that you had 2 different children that was killed in Oakland, and we're going to dive into that. But this is what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to put the bonnets away. The head scarves, the bonnets, all of that stuff. Put it away, y'all. Put it away. It don't give you... It's ladies. Fellas, put the wife beaters up. Ladies, put the bonnet. Don't y'all come out the house with that headscarf on. I hate when girls be doing this in public. That mean their head is itching, but they don't really want to scratch it because they don't want to mess up the tracks. What Quentin called it, the middle part bust down. Let's get to the story, y'all.
Aisha Meredith is hurting.
You knew here we get off track a lot. Don't worry about it.
Overwhelmed
You'll
with
get
grief.
used to it.
In 2021, her 19-year-old stepdaughter, Alasia Thurston, who was the mother of a 3-year-old girl, was shot and killed while riding on this party bus in East Oakland. A 16-year-old girl who was a friend of hers was also killed.
That's been hard on all of us, but it especially was hard on her brother.
And then on July 1st, the brother, 25-year-old Devanye Thurston, was shot and killed at Go-Go Amigo Market at 105th Avenue and E Street in East Oakland.
I got there as fast as I can and I fell to the ground.
Now, Meredith is struggling through her pain once again after losing her son. He was her rock, the one she leaned on in difficult times.
My heart, that's my soul. I can't believe this.
Her son had just started out as a rapper. He wrote the
We all on the same page or no? Do we got to say anything, or are we all on the same page or no? Just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. Are we all on the same page or no? When we got to this part that we at right now. Oh, you couldn't have predicted this one. You couldn't have predicted this one. I was going to skip over this. I'm glad that I didn't. Let me take a sip of water. He said, right pocket full of pink 50s, left pocket full of blues in it. Right pocket full of pink 50s, left pockets full of blues in it. She said he had just started off as a rapper. And he rapping at the in a cemetery. What did you think was going to happen? How did you think that this was going to play out? Oh, man. Right pocket full of pink 50s, left pocket full of blues in it.
I can't believe this.
Her son had just started out as a rapper. He wrote the first verse of this song called Victim after his sister was killed and continued writing it after his best friend was shot dead. Meredith is planning to bury the siblings together.
This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be burying me.
Days before he was killed, he texted her.
Mama, there's a lot of people dying around me. Mama, I'm scared. I don't want to be on no T-shirt, Mama.
Authorities have not reported any arrests in her son's killing. As far as the party bus shooting, investigators have said shooters opened fire in retaliation for another Oakland shooting that left two 17-year-old boys dead.
All I'm seeing is going back and forth. You take mine, I'm going to take yours. You take mine, I'm going to take yours. But it needs to stop.
Look at what he's doing in the music video. What? Let me tell y'all something. And I know that this is not a popular opinion, but I'm going to just tell you. There's a lot of people that's not believers, but I am. And I respect the fact that y'all believe whatever y'all want to believe. Some of y'all might be here just for the news. Some of y'all want to be here for the reactions. Some of y'all here for the entertainment. Some of y'all here because you like to hear me talk to you and get you started throughout your day, because this is the most entertaining millionaire morning show on the face of the earth. But let me just be very, very clear, and I just want to communicate something to y'all. When you put out that type of energy, that's the type of energy you're going to get back. When you speak certain things into existence, when you're doing like this on camera, right? When you rap these lyrics, the things that come out of your mouth ultimately translate into real life. Your mouth, the tongue is the most powerful. It's not your arms, it's not your legs, it's not your heart, it's not your effort. The power of the tongue is life and death in the power of the tongue. You could take somebody's reputation. You can kill them with your tongue. You can absolutely destroy people with your tongue. You have to be careful with what you say, the type of energy that's around you. I'm careful with people that I don't even like certain people to hug me. I don't even like giving handshakes no more. I just give dap. What up, fam? That's why it's so easy for me to walk away from people. People, Anton, you always ghosting people. You goddamn right I'm always ghosting people. When I'm done, I'm done. It is 9 billion people on the face of this earth. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. Listen, I can go my whole life meeting new people every day, and I will never run out of people to meet. When I feel a certain type of energy shift, when somebody shows me something, you know how we say it about women a lot of times, and we say, when women show you who they are, believe them. That's how I am with everybody. And I used to be very, very long-suffering, forgiving. I used to be chilling with people. Oh, man, all of this other stuff. Q taught me, I'm going to be honest, Island Girl Q, she pressed me for that. She said, Anton, you got to be careful. You got to, listen, it's okay to block people. It's okay to walk away. Whatever, they may be feeling some. I'm gone. I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'll catch you on the back end. God bless you. But I'm moving in a whole nother direction. When people show me something, and it could be the same thing. It could be the same thing when it comes to me. If I show you something and you don't want to be a bother with me anymore, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. If somebody says, Anton, I don't really care about who you are, or you know what, this about you rubbed me the wrong way, or they just say, you know what, I want to move in a different direction, or they say it within themselves, man, I'm cool with that. Why shouldn't we be cool with that in real life when people do it every day in relationships? People break up and they be like, you know what, I'm going, this ain't for me. I'm moving in a different direction. Okay. You didn't do nothing negative to me. We don't owe each other no money, do we? Are we still in the lease agreement that we got to share or something? Or did you need my half? Lease agreement is up. All right, let's cool. Let's cut ties. Everything is not for everybody forever. Everything is, some people are a season and some people are meant to be in your life forever. Not everything is supposed to be for everybody forever. It's some people that came in and they was rocking with me, and there's some people that walked away, and then I got new people. And there's some people that's been with me since the beginning. Listen, it's some people that fell away and they came back and they say, you know what? I should have still been here. It just is what it is. It is what it is, man. Y'all got to do the thing that's in y'all best interest, all right? Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show because we got some more stuff that we got to cover. King Stin is in the building with no shirt on, says, what do you think will make these people wake up? Nothing. It's nothing that you can do. Listen, once you get past a certain age, it's over. It's over. That's why you got to reach them when they're young. That's why the Bible say that you got to put it in them when they're young and they'll never depart from it. Even if they then stumble, even if they then go away from it, they always going to come back to it. I think that most people, not all, most people, and that's why we say this and we preach this and we talk about it for the few. We're not looking to save everybody. We just looking to pluck out the different people that's supposed to be a part of the bag chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then ultimately, that's the thing that we speak to. We're not speaking to the majority. We speaking to the people that ultimately is going to go in the same direction as us. Libra Justice says, I took statistics. You can make statistics show what you wanted to show. That's a fact. And get you a good account. Shout out to Libra Justice. You know what it is. The name Joe says, where the father at? You know where he at. Going to get with his next baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue on with the show. All right? Let's go over to Biden. We're going to spend 10 minutes. Every time I say we're going to spend 10 minutes, we usually spend about 15, 20. We're going to spend 7 minutes on Biden, and then we're going to go over to the next part of the show. Biden, we're going to report on this. We're going to keep y'all up to date. Continues to remain defiant and refuse to step down, despite more calls from people within his own party to walk away from this election. Check it out.
Washington in crisis control mode.
We're talking about the President of the United States. Guys, I'm trying to answer the questions.
President Biden is working to assure the country and members of his own party that he is the best bet for November.
I've talked to people across Ohio. They have legitimate questions about whether the president should continue his campaign.
Do you think he should step aside?
If I don't go inside, I have people waiting for me, and I'm in trouble.
It's a simple yes or no, sir.
Thank you.
The president appears to be pulling out all the stops to counter impressions that his debate performance was a sign that he's not fit for re-election.
Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instinct.
He was exhausted just doing his interview sitting down. He was taking deep breaths. Come on, man.
In terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
Today, he held a call with key donors, sent a letter to Capitol Hill saying he won't step down and calling for party unity, and called into MSNBC's morning.
Maybe he waiting for Hunter Biden to get sentenced so he can pardon him. I don't know. Maybe he gonna make sure that Hunter Biden is taken. Who knows? We don't know what the play is of the president of the United States of America. I don't believe that all of these people are selfless. I believe that they are selfish and they do have their own interests that they're working on and that they're focused on, which then feeds into whether or not they're going to continue to try to become president or not. I'm not disillusioned. We're going to cover Trump shortly. I'm not disillusioned. I believe, regardless of how much we are all in support of, and yes, I do plan on voting for Trump this upcoming election. But you are not going to sit here and tell me that in addition to him being the best candidate, in my opinion, as far as what policy is and whether or not he can end the wars in Ukraine, the amount of money that's going outside of the United States, whatever, that he don't also have his own best interests at heart. Oh, absolutely. I believe that Trump also has his own best interests at heart when it comes to becoming president of the United States of America, because two things can be true. 100%. I can get with a girl and then say, you know what? I want to make sure you're good. I want to make sure you're taking care of you in a great space in order for you to be in your femininity. And you ain't got to do this, that, and this, and that, so on and so forth. If you have my kid, you ain't got to work during the first years of the kids going to school until they go to school full time. I could absolutely have her best interest at heart. But that don't mean that I don't have my own best interest at heart too. Absolutely two things can be true. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. But the problem that I have is that they keep trying to sell us on the idea that it's not two things that's true, it's only one. Oh, they only care about you. Okay, then why did they leave the borders open and why won't they address it? Ain't nothing wrong with getting yours. Listen, you can add value to people and be fairly compensated. 100%. It don't have to just be about the people. It could also be making sure that you're not suffering as a result of it also. Sacrifice shouldn't just be one way, but why they selling us like we ain't paying attention and we don't know what's going on? Now, they may not reveal to us what their true intentions are, but I 100% think that there's other intentions associated with the fact that he's still staying in this race. And I got my theories, but y'all gonna have to tune into the Anton Daniels show tomorrow. The Anton Daniels show tomorrow in order to see what those are.
Joe.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024.
But the question just won't go away. Do enough people have faith in Biden to keep him on the ticket? Or is the pressure from some vocal party insiders growing too loud?
Joe has made it clear that he's all in.
Do y'all know when y'all go to these rallies, a lot of times what they don't show you is that they show the cue cards to the audience to applaud. The people don't just applaud on their own. They be like this. And Joe, he's all in. Yeah. Trust me, I've been to them. I've been to the rallies. I've been on stage as one of the people that was cheering. I remember I used to, one of the people, hold on. What was my man's name? Andrew Yang. I absolutely was one of the biggest advocates for Andrew Yang. I absolutely was championing and pushing for Andrew Yang. I liked Andrew Yang. I think that, and he was a Democratic person, but he actually was one of the people that I supported in the race because I felt like he had a good pulse on where things was going technologically and how that was going to play out in the future. See, I'm not just 100% red. I am conservative, but I'm not just 100% red. I 100%. See, I document my whole life. I was on stage right there in the middle. I know how all of these campaigns work. I donated to them. I participate in them. I've spoken to and advocated with people that is a part of certain political campaigns in order to get into it. I know how this works. I know that they throwing up the cue cards. I know where all of the money goes. I know why they go to certain cities. I know how they drum up support. I know what happens prior to the primary in order for them to be able to get into office and then ultimately sell themselves on the general public. I 100% know what goes on. So it's easier for me to be able to speak to these things because I have real life experience. That's what happens when you live long enough. Can't even be a life coach at 26. You got to actually learn something.
This week,
and I didn't like the universal basic income. I actually disagreed with him on that, but I didn't believe that he would ever be able to get that through legislation. And I liked the other policies that he was a part of. So I was able to take the L on the universal basic income pitch, which I didn't believe would ever pass in the first place, in order to embrace other policies, especially when he was talking about Amazon. And Andrew Yang was early on artificial intelligence and all of that stuff. He was one of the very few political candidates that was speaking on artificial intelligence, predicting what was going to happen as far as all of these layoffs and the job loss and all of that stuff. He was very much one of the early proponents as far as addressing what was going to happen in the future. But instead, y'all voted on Joe Biden.
Is crucial. The president is meeting with NATO on Thursday, when he will also hold his first solo news conference since November. Today, he met with the Congressional Black Caucus to shore up support. Tomorrow, Democrats in the Senate and House will meet behind closed doors. No cell phones allowed to talk about a path for the party going forward.
The bottom line is just wait till this week. Give it another week. It's only been a week. And what, 3 days? 3 or 4 days?
You said give it another week. So are you keeping an open mind on whether you want to see the president step aside in this race?
My thing is to find out what direction that the president is going to go. He's said very clearly what he wants to do and what he will do.
But the clock is ticking. There are just 42 days before the Democratic National Convention. So far, at least 6 Democrats have come out publicly calling for Biden to step down.
I wish he would make the right decision, but since he hasn't, and because of my bedrock belief that we can do better with a different candidate, not just a little better, a lot better, I got to speak up and just make the plea.
There's plenty of time to have a conversation about what the alternative would mean
And I think at the end of the day, regardless of what people are saying today, if Joe Biden stays in this race, we will have a unified Democratic Party, in no small measure thanks to the opposition being Donald Trump.
Polling shows very little movement in the president's support. A New York Times poll found 91% of Democrats supported Biden before the debate, 90% after. Before the debate, 45% of Democrats wish they had a different nominee. That number at 47 after the debate.
So if the polls are correct, all right, which I've learned not to trust the polls because the polls said a whole lot of stuff before Donald Trump won, and then it said a whole lot of stuff before Biden won. Most of the polls and most people were predicting that Donald Trump was going to lose when he won, and most of the polls and a lot of the people were predicting that Donald Trump was going to win when he lost. So I don't go based off of the polls in order to make a decision. And I think a lot of times we depend on these polls and we use these polls in order to validate whether or not we're going to participate or not because we get comfortable and next thing you know, somebody is getting kicked out of office or whatever, right? But if these polls be true, then that tells me that most people, regardless of how old he is or what the debate performances were, which I already predicted, had already made up their mind that they was going to vote one way or the other. Because the vote isn't whether or not is not whether or not Biden is competent. The vote is all based off of the idea that either you believe in Donald Trump or you believe that he got better policies or you don't like him. People are not voting for Biden when they vote Biden. They're voting against Donald Trump. Let me say that once again. People are not voting for Biden that is voting for Biden. The overwhelming majority of them. Most people are voting against Trump or voting against the Republican Party. If you ask anybody, I've had plenty of people come up on this panel and come up on this show. And I said, okay, listen, you voting for Biden? Yeah, man. Well, why are you voting for Biden? 9.5 out of 10 times they say, well, I don't like that other guy. Or I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. Or, well, Trump said, and how could I ever vote for Trump? They never say a policy, a protection, money that they've made, money that they've saved in taxes, how the economy is better, whether or not the migrant crisis is affecting their lives, sanctuary cities, CHIPS Act, the fact that Biden kept tariffs in place that Trump instituted in the first place while then speaking against it, Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare costs, jobs, layoffs. They don't say any of that. They don't speak to any policy. As a matter of fact, I would tell you that most voters are uneducated and they don't even know what the policies are that Biden has instituted while he was in office. They can't tell you what the infrastructure deal included, which included the very thing that y'all say that y'all don't want, electric cars, and the infrastructure that has largely failed as far as us funding what this infrastructure bill is supposed to be, as far as building up our roads, our bridges, and then ultimately the infrastructure that allows for smart cars, artificial intelligence, and electric cars to be able to thrive on American roads. Failed miserably. Don't know where all of the money is, but it absolutely is funded. And included in a lot of these bills be funding for Ukraine, Taiwan, and all of that. But then we talk about the CHIPS Act. Most people have no clue what happened the last 3.5 years that this man is in office, but they're not voting for him. They're voting against his opponent. So they're already biased, and it doesn't matter if Biden was 103 and he couldn't even mumble 3 words in his mouth. They're going to vote based off of their heart, not based off of their policies. Even Biden himself told you. He said, listen, I want to restore integrity back into the office of the President of the United States of America. And it's about how people feel. Just my opinion anyways, regardless of what the polls say. So anyways, let me pivot for a minute and I'm going to read that super chat and then we're going to go over to Trump, all right, because I want to cover both. Doug Dub says, good morning, side question. Is there a way to offset capital gains taxes from selling stocks? If it's in the Patreon, let me know. I'm a member. Stay blessed. I do not believe, personally, I can do some research. I do not believe that there's an offset of capital gains taxes from selling stocks. Now, the one benefit that you have is that capital gains taxes is much less than regular income taxes, okay? But on the flip side, you're only paying capital gains on the profits. So I don't believe that there's a way, but ultimately, I don't ever really try to sell it. I get into a stock for long term, and then I just let it compound over a period of time, and then you'll eventually you'll eventually have to pay the capital gains taxes. But that's a completely different conversation. Phenomenal question. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. I can address that in the Patreon if you guys want me to. For Stock Club on Thursday. All right, let's pivot and let's talk about Putin and Trump and war and final VP picks. I'm going to try to spend 7 minutes / 10 minutes on this. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, tap into Tiege Hanley, set 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life, and then tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. This is Putin, okay? Vladimir Putin. Putin has spoken about Trump becoming president and whether or not Trump could actually end the war in Ukraine. Isn't that crazy? I mean, at no point, let's just be real, at no point have we ever seen Vladimir Putin, even though we had no new wars during Trump's presidency, at no point have we seen Vladimir Putin ever even consider the possibility of ending the war in Ukraine while Biden was in office. He's never spoke on ending the war in Ukraine. He's become more steadfast. They say that wealth has now started to retrieve itself back in Russia, and that all of the little sanctions and all of the stuff that they had going on, the McDonald's that they was closing and all of that is back thriving. It's just under a new name. At no point in my personal observation of following what's been happening in the office, and I've been following the entire time since they've been in office, I have never heard Vladimir Putin even speak on the possibility of ending the war in Ukraine. But he's recently done so. Check it out.
В целом, конечно, я видел, что же отворачиваться от этого невозможно.
In general, of course, I saw it is impossible to turn away from this. In general, I saw it's impossible to turn away from this. Listen, we going to get Ukraine. And I'm going to read the Cash App shortly too. Thank you. He said, we going to get Ukraine. Ain't no way we walking away from it. We in it now.
Можно, тем более, что Соединенные Штаты остаются великой державой с известными возможностями в сфере экономики, безопасности, в сфере военного дела. И США, член Совета Безопасности постоянный, конечно, такое влияние имеет на ситуацию на Украине.
He said, of course, the United States of America has an influence on what's going on in Ukraine. So essentially, we fighting a proxy war. Proxy war meaning that we not necessarily sending our troops, but we sending money, we sending funding, and we don't like what's going on with Russia. And so in order for us to fight Russia, we got to fund the war, and it's basically a war that's being fought through Ukraine. All right?
В Украине, конечно, не безразлично, что там происходит. Но это их, собственно, внутреннее дело. Вы знаете, то, что господин Трамп как кандидат.
You know that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, declares that he is ready.
В президенты заявляет о том, что он готов и хочет.
And wants to stop the war in Ukraine. So he acknowledges Trump. He don't even acknowledge Biden. That tells you everything. He won't even, he says the United States when he's referring to their involvement in what's going on in this proxy war over in Ukraine. He addresses Trump directly. He said, and Trump has indicated that he want to stop this war in Ukraine. Now, regardless of whether or not you agree with Vladimir Putin or not, regardless of whether or not you agree with the position or whether or not we should bring troops home or whether or not we should continue to fund it and all of this stuff, the fact that he even acknowledged him, he won't even say Biden, he won't say Joe Biden, but he acknowledging that Trump wants to stop the war in Ukraine. Let's continue.
Остановить войну на Украине, мы к этому относимся
вполне
серьезно. Я не знаком.
I'm not familiar, of course, with his possible proposals and how he plans to do this. I'm not familiar with what he's going to say because he's not the president of the United States right now.
Разумеется, с его возможными предложениями по поводу того, как он собирается это сделать. И это, конечно, ключевой вопрос.
And of course, this is the key question. This is how we need to come back to the negotiating table.
Но я не сомневаюсь, что он говорит это искренне.
But I have no doubt that he is saying this sincerely, and we support this. Now, again, we have no clue how sincere Vladimir Putin is. We know that this dude is a monster. He a beast. He a dog out in these streets. But he said, listen, Trump want to end this war. We don't know how he plans to do this, but I ain't got no doubt that what he is saying is sincere, and we actually support, you know what I'm saying, eventually ending this war in Ukraine. Come on, man. Come on, man. For him to publicly acknowledge Trump without him even being in office, and then to be taking Trump serious, considering that he's not even the president of the United States right now, I think that that's a big deal, personally. Now, you may not feel like it's a big deal, but I absolutely think that it's a big deal. And of course, I'm not going to just take him at his word because, you know, according to the United States of America, he's the ops. But the fact that he even acknowledged, the fact that it's something that he's willing to sit down, but he won't even acknowledge Biden by name is insane. Is insane. Furthermore, as far as what's going on with Trump, the biggest news that they have going on is not whether or not they want to end the war in Ukraine and whether or not he was acknowledged by Vladimir Putin, but it's whether or not Trump is going to pick one of three candidates or whether he's narrowed his candidates down and who his vice presidential pick is going to be. Shout out to Tanisha. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. Take a look.
We've got 1 week to go until the Republican National Convention, and the Trump campaign says that a VP pick could be announced at any time.
This time next Monday, we will know who President Trump has selected as his running mate for the 2024 election.
California Republican Congressman Darrell Issa joins us now from Capitol Hill. Congressman, it's great to have you today. Thank you for being here. Want to know who you think the former president will choose and what he needs to add to his ticket and why.
Well, thank you, Jackie, and thanks for having me on. The fact is, President Trump doesn't need anyone to win. He's ahead in the polls. What he needs, though, is he needs a vice president who can be prepared to be president on day one. That's the reason that his final three candidates that are being floated.
Let's look at these people real quick, y'all. Governor Burgum, Senator Rubio. I don't see anybody up there that I think is actually the person that I want to be the vice president. These are all of the contenders according to the news. Now, Trump is keeping this close to the vest. Actually, I do see a couple people that I like. Senator Vance, Senator Scott, Senator Cotton, Senator Scott, Rep. Donalds. I like Donalds. Representative Stefanik, Dr. Carson. I love Dr. Ben Carson. That dude is a monster. Governor Youngkin and former Secretary Pompeo. Where's Vivek? Where's Vivek Ramaswamy at? I think that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be a part of Trump's cabinet if he wins for president of the United States of America, regardless of whether or not he becomes vice president whatsoever. But I do like Donalds. I like Dr. Carson. Pompeo, Rubio, Senator Scott. A lot of people don't like the fact that he over there talking to a baby mama white woman, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I think you should go with whoever it is that you should rock with. But I do like Donalds and I do like Carson. And I think that he probably going to go with some other. You got to go with somebody that's colored, right? They say black and brown is colored now. You got to go with somebody that's colored now in order to reach the black audience. That's going to be the swing vote, especially for the women. So
Are all exactly that. They're people who are well respected, that we know could take over the job if necessary. But also, quite frankly, President Trump used his former vice president heavily to launch the Space Force and for other jobs, and I would expect he'll do the same with this vice president. So the conventional wisdom always is that the vice president has to bring a state. In the case of President Trump, that's not necessary.
Yeah, and Congressman, I guess it's a little bit tough because who knows at this point who former President Trump may be facing. So I got to ask you, I mean, what a day to come back from the holiday recess. I can only imagine the chatter is very loud in those halls there. So what's it like right now on Capitol Hill with everything that's going on?
Well, everybody's opened up the Constitution, looked at the 25th Amendment thoroughly because it's being bantied around by our Democrat colleagues as likely at this point because of the fact that the president, as he has not been for most of the 3.5 years, isn't capable of being the commander-in-chief. However, to answer your question, look, we're going to face the Biden-Harris team. We're going to face a Democrat Party who likes the way things have been done the last 3.5 years and will campaign on the record of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And that's what President Trump is running against. That's what he's coming to office to quite frankly, roll back to the Trump agenda that worked so well, that gave us the best economy we'd had and the lowest gas prices in decades.
You mentioned. I think that my biggest, the thing that has impressed me the most is Donald Trump is almost like an anomaly. In my lifetime, this is not something that I've ever seen before. And the reason that it's something that I haven't seen before, regardless of whether or not you like him or not, or whether or not you're going to vote for him or not, at the very least, you got to acknowledge that he has been running this entire campaign with no vice presidential candidate, with no potential pick whatsoever. Think about it like this. Not only does he not have a vice presidential candidate, on top of that, he never even attended any of the Republican debates. He never attended any of the Republican debates. While they was over there arguing amongst each other and trying to figure it out, and we were celebrating Vivek Ramaswamy from routing them and absolutely washing them in the Republican debates, Trump never showed up. He was on a golf course. He was on his jet. He was dealing with all of these lawsuits. He was flying back and forth, only for him to be able to get immunity anyway. And then he's been doing this whole thing while Kamala Harris is crisscrossing one side of the country and Biden is crisscrossing the other side of the country, and they trying to drum up votes, and they going to the NAACP and all of this. Donald Trump has been running this by himself. He has been doing the entire thing. I've never seen this in my entire life, to where one man with no vice presidential pick has been routing the entire field the entire time. I've never seen it in my entire life. If he wins this election, and I think it's important for us to pay attention to this, because a lot of times now we're all just saying, oh, Biden is old. I think that that's one of the things that they depended on, is for us to fall asleep at the wheel. They want us to get lax. They want us to get relaxed. They want us to stop advocating. They want us to stop donating. They want us to stop campaigning. They want us to not pay attention to it. They want us to stop covering it so that there can be an overwhelming swell of support, because when people feel like they're under duress, then ultimately what they do is they all mobilize. But when they're not mobilizing and you get comfortable and you get sleep at the wheel, that's how an election gets stolen, in my personal opinion. So that is what's happening with Trump. Over on that side, I want to read this Cash App, and then I want to read this Super Chat really quickly. Shout out to my dog, Brian Hunter. I appreciate you. Says, take your L, Oakland and Chicago and NYC. Shout out to Brian Hunter on Cash App. I appreciate you. And then also, my baby girl. Thank you to Tanisha. What up, Tanisha? Says, sending my support for the channel. Thank you for standing on business every single day. I think y'all like my villain arc. All over 1,900 people watching this on YouTube alone and then across other platforms. I think y'all enjoying my villain arc, Tanisha. I don't think that y'all want me to be nice, Mr. Anton. When I'm nice, Mr. Anton, like, that's cool and that's fun for a little bit, baby. And shout out to you, Tanisha. Are you with me? And everybody that support the platform. When y'all over here and y'all see me and y'all having me over here just being passive and I'm being nice and stuff and I'm in a good mood, people don't like that. They want me to beat them up. You know, my ops, they kind of like scorned spouses. They're like scorned spouses a lot of times. Like, they don't feel like I love them until I come down and come and talk to them. And then when I show up on a panel and I'm the boogeyman, and they all want to come up and try to talk to me. Hey, man, hey, can we get a resolution? We need a resolution. We need a resolution. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to the AALIYAH. We need a resolution. I want to talk to you because I want to be able to confront you and tell you what my problems are, Daddy. I want to come and I want to talk to you, Anton, because I'm a grown man with a wife and kids, and I got my own job, and I'm real in these streets. But I definitely want to come and talk to you and tell you what my problems are because you ghosted me. You didn't acknowledge me in the chat. And I'm a real one in these streets. Everybody know who I am in these streets. But you didn't acknowledge me, and I was a moderator in your chat. And I came through 3 times, and you didn't even say my name. Everybody know me in these streets. Drop tier. Hold on. I got something for y'all. Everybody know I'm a real one in these streets. I got a video of Rilla hip rolling in real life while he over here telling me how much he a gangster too. I just want to know. Hey, listen. Just like Chauncey was doing when he dropped a dime on Kane and them in Men's Society. If y'all want the video of Rilla hip rolling in real life while he was over here threatening me on the panel, I'm selling them for $59.95. $59.95. I might make that a Patreon exclusive. Anyways, neither here nor there. Shout out to all of the grown men that need acknowledgement out in these YouTube streets, man. I got one more thing. Anton keep goes, why you not picking up your phone? I've never seen a bunch of grown men that's so concerned about whether or not they got my phone number and whether or not I'm picking up the phone. It's crazy out in these streets. I'm going to read the rest of the super chats. We got to get over to the, man, don't tell me to stay humble. Y'all know what y'all going to do for me. I ain't got to stay humble for nobody except for my daughter and my chick. Talking about stay humble. Let me get some more water on my ass before we get into this reaction video. Y'all know I'm really streets. See my tears? Y'all ready to continue on with the show? All of them is my sons, out of control and needing a whooping. They just need a whooping. You know what they really want before I get it back into this? You know what they really want? I'm going to read y'all super chats after this. You know what they really want? They just want me to be friends with them again. They want me to say, I forgive you. I knight you. But I don't. I don't forgive you. I'm not forgiving you. They was over there crying on that panel. I said, look at these grown men want my attention. You didn't acknowledge that I was a good father and you was talking about the Hebrew Israelites. Kneel before me, my conglomerate. All right, y'all. Let's continue on. Shout out to everybody that's in the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the strap. Pinned to the top of the chat. Let's continue on with the show, y'all. I'm going to check the Cash Apps. I see you, Bobby Sherry. Thank you. Put my glasses on, you said in my skip voice. All right, y'all. We got a content creator. I haven't done this in a while, so I want to make sure I acknowledge the content creators. Sent this to me to react to. And so I definitely want to make sure that I give some love first before we get into the actual reaction video. All right, so we're going to spend 10 minutes on this. This man's name is Pac-Man RJ. Shout out to Messi. Pac-Man RJ is in the building. As of the recording of this video, he has 405 subscribers. 405 subscribers. And he's speaking about the job market. And so I did watch the first 2 minutes of the video just to make sure I wasn't being rickrolled. All right, I know how y'all like to play out here in these streets. And he's talking about the job market. So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you like his content and you want to go over there and subscribe to him and you just so happen to like his video, then tell him that Anton from AntonDaniels.com sent you. Let's get into it.
So I had an interview yesterday for a waiter position, and he asked if I have any experience waiting tables. And I'm like, no, not really. I mean, I have restaurant experience, but not specifically as a waiter. And he's like, well, we're looking for somebody with experience. And I'm just like, how do you get experience if you can't get the job? And he's like, well, people usually do it in like high school and stuff. And I never worked a job like that in high school. So I can't be a waiter, apparently. So that's off the table. But yeah, it's been an endless cycle of just...
Wait. Is the street so bad? And I need the people that's actually been paying attention. Maybe you've been trying to get a second job. Maybe you're just trying to get back into the workforce or whatever. Is the street so bad that they not even taking y'all as waiters anymore? Now, when I'm out in the streets every day, I see signs everywhere. I see signs advertising for managers. Oh, we'll pay you a $5,000 bonus if you stay on for this long and ultimately work here. We'll do this, we'll do that. I see people all the time basically begging for people to go out here and work. And then I also see the Biden administration saying we created 200,000 new jobs inside of the market, and unemployment is at a record low. Okay, so if that be true, are you telling me that people can't even get a waiter's job? Interesting.
Just applying for these positions everywhere and getting one or two messages back, and that's about it right now. And just nobody seems to be really following through and actually trying to hire people
shortly. Thank you.
In this current market. It is crazy. Guys, don't quit your job if you have nothing lined up. I did that about 2 months ago, and I'm...
What's his name again? Pac-Man RJ. Pac-Man RJ, what's going on? Pac-Man RJ, what's going on out here in these streets, big dog? Say it ain't so. Don't tell me that you quit your job, your decent paying job, with nowhere to go. Let me read that. Let me hear that again, because maybe I heard it wrong.
Guys, don't quit your job if you have nothing lined up. I did that about 2 months ago, and...
Oh, God. I love social media. I love social media because these people be telling their life stories, and I appreciate them for being transparent because it helps for us to be able to make a better decision and use this as an example of what you should or shouldn't do. This dude said he quit his job without having anything else lined up. I don't know anybody that does that except for like emotional people or emotional women. I don't know people who does it. Listen, I don't care how mad I get. And maybe this is a black thing. Maybe this is one of the things that we got to separate ourselves with regard to race or culture or something. Because even Tiffany Henyard over there in Dalton, who was basically under duress, she will not quit her job because she is like, I am going to get this. I don't care if I go to jail. I don't care what happened. Community chest, don't pass go, don't collect $200. The one thing you ain't going to get me to do is quit my job. Mayor Shane Tao over there in Oakland says, listen, I know that they coming after me and all of this other stuff, but the one thing I ain't going to do is I'm not going to give up no money and I'm not giving up no bags. As a matter of fact, we're going to take some trips to Vegas while we on top of it. Why do people quit their jobs before they get another job lined up? That is so weird. I don't care what I'm on. I don't care if I'm on a PIP. I don't care if the people don't like me. Listen, everybody in here cannot like me. I got headphones. I'm going to come in here and do what I'm supposed to do so I can get my paycheck, and I'm going home. And then I'm going to look for another job while I'm on the job. While I'm on the job, I'm going to be looking for another job. I brought my iPad today. I already did my resume at the crib. We're going to be applying to 35 different jobs. We're going to refine it for every job that we apply for. We're going to apply for 35 different jobs every day while I'm at work. I'm going to do 2 hours of work for the work job, and then I'm going to do 6 hours of work, and I'm willing to skip my lunch for the other job. Whatever the other job is me applying for another job. If you don't like your job, spend the majority of your work hours looking for another job. Refining. Hey, be spending your lunch hour doing online interviews. Yep. I'm right here right now. I can show you all of my accomplishments. I don't know what y'all thinking.
I'm currently sitting here, still unemployed in the middle of June, and I'm sweating in my car. It's like 95 degrees in here. And it's just every day is kind of the same thing right now. A couple phone calls, maybe an in-person interview somewhere, and a lot of just back and forth, and nothing comes of it. And some of these jobs reaching out to me are like fake spam jobs, like, oh, contracts, 6 months, 15 an hour, sales commissions, like just random crap like that. It's all fake. And everything's like AI generated. I'm tired of AI emails. It's like you're talking to the hiring manager, but it's AI generated emails. It is just so ridiculous right now, guys.
You're a little too calm to be broke for me. Hey, Pac-Man RJ, you a little too relaxed to be broke sitting outside of the mall.
And I've looked at everything at this point. I mean, I'm considering, Amazon delivery at this point.
Ooh, wait. Why they try to act like a delivery job is a bad job? But yeah, you're going to be in there fighting for that job. Listen, you can't tell me it ain't no... So you was willing to be a waiter but not being an Amazon delivery driver. At least you would have air in your vehicle. Hey, y'all got to pick a struggle. I'm considering Amazon delivery at this point. No, I'm running to Amazon to go deliver. If I ain't got no income and no job whatsoever, man, get out of here with that. These young people are different. This new generation is different. They a whole nother wave. A whole nother wave, bro.
That would be something that would actually pay some money for the time being. And yeah, it's really bad right now. I've looked at everything online. Everything is so scammy right now with all these courses. Everyone's trying to sell you their course, like, oh, how to make money remotely, all this crap. It's horrible right now. Everyone's in the rat race trying to get their share, and the cow's been milked in the USA. There's no longer jobs out there. I will say there are jobs out there, like in construction and stuff like that.
Go get
if I really need to go that route and get like a labor job.
Are y'all okay? So all right. So what I'm mining out from this is that there are actually jobs in the marketplace, but it's not the jobs that you want to do. Y'all want to be in air condition. Y'all want to be stay-at-home remote workers. That's not the economy for this. That's not the move. Oh, it's some construction jobs out there. It's Amazon delivery jobs. It's this and that, this and that. Y'all soft. Y'all just soft. Y'all soft. There's no way that I'm ever going to go a day where I get behind on a bill. I don't take care of business. I forgot to pay my $40 cable bill for one of my spots that I have. I forgot to pay the $40 cable bill. I just got the notification literally right now. I need to put that on the thing. Look, please pay $40 so that you don't get a service interruption. I'm panicking right now, and I just got the notification right there. Oh, you can't see that? Don't worry about it. We got you, boo. I just got the notification. Please pay $40 to avoid service interruption. I forgot to pay the bill. I'm panicking right now.
I might have to in the trades or something like that. But currently I'm looking at like laboratory jobs. That's what I have experience in, is in the labs. And they're just horrible right now. It's all contract. It's all less money than I was making 2 months ago, actually. I could go back to my old job and make more money there. But the reason I quit my last job is because the toxic work environment. And I'm not talking about toxic like coworker relationship. I'm talking about like physically, the place was so disgusting is why I quit. The actual physical space we worked in was actually so cancerous, I guess. That's why I quit there, with really nothing lined up at that point. I got my 2 years in there and I quit. I'm sitting here
looking for a job the whole time while you was there.
Unemployed, day number like 55 or something like that.
Hell no.
And it is exhausting right now. I can't even.
Listen, I hate to say this and I hate to say it. Look at Rita talking about she's seen the cable bill and she just started laughing. Rita never mentioned the All right, hold on. Let me see something. Let me see what's happening out here in these streets. Why wouldn't she say something if she's seen the cable bill? If you're a grown man and you're going without working, that's a problem.
I hate to say this. Hello. I hate to say
Turn down the YouTube, ma'am.
Hello.
You ain't never say nothing when you seen the cable bill.
I just saw it come through the email.
Why you start laughing?
Cause I'm like, what's happening?
You concerned?
No, not at all. I was joking.
Bye. So she's seen it too, huh? Told you she get all of the same emails. Listen, if you are a grown man and you working and you not working and you going 55 days without working, if you are a grown man, this is just my life philosophy. This is how my father taught me. If you are a grown man and you are going more than a week without working and you're not on actual vacation, that's a problem. That's a problem. In some form of capacity, you got to have a hustle. You got to be working on something. You got to be working with somebody. You got to be interviewing. You need to be looking at finding a job like a job, meaning that I'm going to put my 40, 45 hours in on finding a job because my number one job is to find a job. I need to be door dashing. I need to be Grubhubbing. I need to be Uber Eatsing. I need to be something. If you are a grown man and you are going a week without employment and you are not making money, and I know y'all hate this. Oh my God, Anton, we so soft. We in our feelings and we spend all of our time on panels on side of the internet. Get off the panels, fam. You don't have time to have conversations about modern women. Ain't no more time to have conversations about relationships. We don't want to talk about Biden. We don't want to talk to you. The criteria for being able to get on the Anton Daniels panel from now on, Monday nights, is you need to be if you are a man and you are trying to get on the panel, you have to have gainful employment. If you are a man and you're trying to get on the panel, you have to be gainfully employed. You don't have time to be talking about box or women or whether or not you should go on coffee dates. We don't want to hear your opinion at that point. It is time to get yourself together, gather yourself. The word of the day is J-O-B. I wouldn't even want to talk to nobody unless I got my money right. Well, my money not right. You know that commercial where they say you need a Snickers? Everybody is going to be some grumpy times. You know what I'm saying? Let me hear the rest of what he got to say.
Get a waiter job at like a restaurant or a bar. I'll probably look at a few more today, honestly. I'm sure someone's desperate for some help right now. I mean, you would think. Remember 2 years ago, everyone was like hiring. Oh, we're so desperate for workers. Like, what changed in the last 2 or 3 years? It's crazy. All of a sudden, no one's hiring. Yeah, things have changed rapidly since 2020 in like it's like a pendulum going back and forth right now. Because I got a job easily 2 years ago, pretty quickly out of college. And yeah, this market has changed. So anyways, guys, I want to make this channel like more of a vlog channel, more talking. I was doing some sports content before, but
How come everybody that be unemployed for 5 months straight decide that they want to start a YouTube channel? Man, get the fuck off the internet, bro. And I always put the link to their channel in this. Dog. Yeah, man, I decided to have a life change. I decided that I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Nigga, go get some gainful employment and then start your YouTube channel right after that.
it was getting like no views. I think the sports niche on YouTube is kind of oversaturated now. There's so many commentators doing the same sports, kind of like a vlog channel, kind of talking about my experience being unemployed this summer. It's really exciting. I'll probably go to the gym today and then apply for some more jobs late in the afternoon. I'll probably go for a walk later and, you know, cook.
I wonder if these people be having girlfriends or wives or kids or something like that. They don't have no sense of urgency, bro.
Dinner, very exciting stuff. I'm trying to get back into tennis right now, actually. I want to get playing tennis.
Jesus Christ.
I found a tennis partner that seems to be willing to play with me. I haven't played tennis in years. I don't like pickleball, though. Pickleball is like this weird thing. I played pickleball like 6 years ago one time, I swear, at like a friend's house. And I didn't really like it. It's just like, I want to move more. I like moving my legs a lot more and running. So tennis is more my speed.
Jesus Christ.
I like serving in tennis overhand.
All right, big dog. You need a life coach, big dog. You need a kick in the ass. And I'm going to be the person to give it to you. All right? I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, big dog. You're scatterbrained. You're all over the place. You're not focused. One of the reasons why your channel is not taking off, you don't have the subscribers that you're supposed to have, is because you can't stick with anything long enough to actually make it work for you, which is probably one of the reasons why your life is in shambles right now when you're trying to just figure it out. You don't have any career. You don't have any options. You're just winging it on a day-to-day basis. You're looking for a tennis partner. A tennis partner? Listen, man, when you become a man, you put away childish things, and then you play with your hobbies, and then you try to monetize them afterwards. Fellas, for everybody watching this, once you get past a certain point in your life, you have to grow the fuck up. Grow the hell up. Real talk, grow up. It's time to get serious about life. We don't have time to be playing games. It is time to grow the hell up, bro. It's too much smiling. It's too much cackling and giggling and scatterbrain thoughts and taking walks. And we don't want to hear that shit. The only thing we want to hear is you suffering until you get to the results. It's time to put away childish things. What? What? Just winging it on a day-to-day basis? Going to Planet Fitness? Jesus Christ. Anyways, shout out to him again. His name is Pac-Man RJ. If you like his content, I guess we just built different. We all different, man. We all in a different space in our lives. I respect the grind. I respect the hustle. I respect all content creators. So I'm always going to link back to their platform. But we just different. Shout out to Bobby Sherry on Cash App. Says a little something for the team. Thank you, Bobby Sherry, and thank you for the 20 ball. The 20 ball. Y'all must love me. I got rich friends out in these streets. Jamal Park says, "Can you do an Uncle Ruckus impression?" I've never seen Uncle Ruckus. I'd have to look it up. I'm gonna work on Uncle Ruckus. I promise you, I'm gonna work on it. Shadow Dragon TV in the building says, but he was in the chat, Ton. I was crying. Yeah, he was in the chat watching me. I said, boy, if you don't get all of them was in the chat. Watching all of this YouTube and let me be quiet. Libra Justice, I did a little bit too much trolling today. Libra Justice says, you remind me of my brother Ronnie. God bless his soul. Oh, God bless Ronnie, man. And shout out to Ronnie Ron in the building. J-Dub says, I appreciate this platform and I appreciate the value you continue to add to me. Well, thank you, J-Dubs. And I would also, if you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then last but not least, my guy Stan Autry is in a building. Says, good day, Anton. Chat, respect. Shout out to my dog Stan Autry. I appreciate y'all. Listen, man, y'all always holding me down. Y'all always loving. Y'all always holding me down and y'all always loving. But I got two things. one sad piece of news before y'all go, all right? I got one sad piece of news and then two good pieces of news. One sad piece of news and two good pieces of news. Are y'all ready? Let me get my stoic face on. Y'all want to start with the good news or the bad news first? I've never seen the Boondocks. Y'all want the good news or the bad news first? Tell me if y'all want the two pieces of good news or you want the bad news first. And then we can do the reverse. Grayway says, my friend asked for my help, but never does what I told her she needs to do first. When I asked, she says she has never the time. She never has time, but you're on the phone with me right now. Leave her alone. Let her suffer. Let her suffer. You can't help her. Sometimes people got to go through it until they can get to it. Stan Autry says, Anton, you are not correct. Everyone wants to be like the National Lampoon movie. The brother-in-law holding out for management job and don't have the credentials. Make it make sense. It's crazy, ain't it, out here? Why y'all want the bad news first? Jesus. Shout out to my dog Stan. I appreciate y'all. All right. I'm going to give you the bad news first. And then, y'all are some crazy. I got a crazy chat. All right. We're going to go with the bad news first. All right. The bad news is we are at the end of the show. I went 2 hours and 25 minutes today. The bad news is that we at the end of the show. See, y'all thought I was going to say something bad for real. The bad news is that I'm at the end of the show. Two pieces of good news, though. The first piece of good news is that we're going to be back tomorrow. God willing, we're going to be back tomorrow. That's the first piece of good news. And then the second piece of good news is even better than the first. We're going to be back tonight for After Hours. Yeah, so we got to end the show. We at time today, but we're going to be back tomorrow. Same time, 7 to 7:30, sometime in between there. And then we got After Hours tonight. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus a free gift. Stay trolling, my friends. I love y'all. Peace.